Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to the first video of my YouTube channel, International Rations. So what I have for you today for the very first video is something that isn't particularly exotic or international. This is the US cheese tortellini and tomato sauce MRE. I believe this one is vegetarian. I could not find any meat products in it anywhere, so I'm assuming it's vegetarian. This I don't believe is an official ration that would be issued to US troops because it does not come in the official brown retort pouch, which I'll put a picture of one of those up on the video. But it just came in this nondescript little plastic pouch. So I think this is more of an odds and ends that they threw in to sell as military surplus. It's packaged by Sopico. And the main ingredients for this main here, the actual pasta itself, I don't know if you can see that, but it's water, cheese tortellini, and it goes to explain what's in there. It's mostly flour and ricotta cheese, which is whey and milk and whatnot. There's some breadcrumbs. They even have sugar in here, Parmesan cheese, etc., etc. Here's all the nutritional facts. So there's 38 grams of carbohydrates, 3 grams of dietary fiber, 4 grams of sugar, and 11 grams of protein, as well as some other stuff. Like calories is 250. Next up here we have the orange beverage powder, which does not contain any fruit juice. Here we go, the carbohydrate electrolyte beverage powder orange. And here are the instructions for use. It wants us to add 12 ounces of water, or half of a canteen cup, to pouch. And if you have purified your water, make sure to let it sit for about 30 minutes. Some of the nutritional facts on here is 23 grams of carbohydrates, 22 grams of which is sugar, no protein, no total fat, 90 calories, 130 milligrams of sodium, and 55 milligrams of potassium. No vitamin A, calcium, vitamin C, or iron, which is interesting. And here are some of the ingredients. So you got sugar, dextrose, citric acid, and some other ones, including yellow 6 lake food coloring. Next up for dessert, you have a chocolate chip cookie. And some of the nutritional facts for this is 280 calories, 35 grams carbohydrate, 1 gram of which is dietary fiber, and 18 of which is sugar. 3 grams of protein, 170 milligrams of sodium, 10 milligrams of cholesterol, and 15 grams total fat. A couple of ingredients are enriched unbleached wheat flour, niacin, iron, thiamine, lots of stuff you can't pronounce, sugar, palm oil, and semi-sweet chocolate. Next up you have the FRH. This is obviously not to consume. This is to heat your main course or anything else that needs heating. And then you have the actual main pouch itself. This is the cheese tortellini and tomato sauce. So without any further ado, let's get into this. I have my water right here to heat the flameless ration heater, and I will do that now. So I looked at the instructions, and this is actually the first time I'll have done this, but from what I could gather, they want you to take the heating element out first, then get your water, here we are, get your water and very carefully fill it up and make sure you don't overfill it. Try to get the water in the actual pouch. And it looks like I may have slightly overfilled it. So I'll just pour a little of this into the drain. And that's probably the way to do it, to take out your ration heater first, because if I had just left it in, it would have already activated with too much water. What they say is too much anyway. I've never done this before, so I don't know if what they recommend is really too accurate, but what you'll next do is take the heating element and put it under your main course. Open up the flameless ration. Hello everyone, Future Me here, and I'm sorry about the awkward break in film you're about to see, but the SD card in the GoPro I was using to film got corrupted in the middle of filming, so I was unable to keep using that GoPro. I was able to recover most of the footage, but I had to use my phone to film from here on out. So it's going to be a little bit shaky and choppy, and the audio isn't quite as good as with the GoPro. So I am sorry about that, but there was nothing I could do at the time because the meal was already in the flameless ration heater and it was cooking, so I didn't have any time to go messing around with the GoPro. So it should be a lot better in the next video. I should have all those problems sorted out. I just wanted to mention that and say I am sorry about that, but I do hope you will enjoy the video. So what I was in the middle of doing is preparing the orange beverage powder right here into a drinkable drink. So I will be doing that real quick. Alright, so here it is before I've actually prepared it. You can see down there, if the camera would focus, some pretty bright orange powder. And I don't really know how I would describe the smell. Probably just how you would expect Gatorade powder to smell, just kind of chemically and maybe a little sugary. Um, but I will make this into a usable drink in just a moment. Alright, so I have prepared a cup with what I think is roughly the right amount. It doesn't really look like it here. You could see it much better when it was actually in the pouch, and I might have a little for you to see there. It is very orange, just like the powder was, and I did try a little bit to make sure I mix the right amount, just because I don't have a, I didn't measure my water, I just poured it in a right in and guessed, but we'll see if this is any good, and I'll try this real quick. So yeah, that wouldn't really be my favorite drink ever. Probably tastes about like you would expect. I don't drink much Gatorade, but I'd say that's probably the closest to Gatorade, or Gatorade is the closest to this. It doesn't actually taste that sugary, and it does taste a little orange. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's just kind of a generic orange drink, I think is the best way to describe it. It's really just a drink, and it is nothing special, but if you need something to drink, you'll probably enjoy it better than water, and it's supposed to have electrolytes in it, so that's a good thing. Especially if you're out around marching and whatnot. But I'll check on this main course, and I will see if it's ready. And really doesn't feel that warm yet, so I will just leave it in there to cook away. Hopefully it'll get a bit warmer, but I will see you then. Alright, so while I am waiting for this to heat up, I thought I would explain a little bit about the channel and plans for the future, and also a little bit more about this ration. So if any of you have seen rations before, US specifically, US MREs, you will have probably thought that this was a little light on what they include and that there wasn't much, and you would be right. I don't think this is an official issued US ration, and the reason I say that is because there is no brown retort pouch that it came in, and I will put up a picture of an official one up on your screen. It just came in this little plastic sack here, completely nondescript and unlabeled. So I think this is just odds and ends that the company Sopico put together to sell as military surplus, just because they had extras or something like that. Um, Real ones would typically have a lot more stuff, and this menu specifically would have stuff like a First Strike ration bar, and some other things. I can't remember them all, but they should all be up on your screen. Um, so I wanted to explain that, just so you know this isn't everything you would typically get if you were actually in the military receiving an MRE. This is a lighter version. Um, I'm not 100% sure if this is like specifically for civilian market surplus, or if this is for garrison, or why exactly this is much lighter, but it is. My best guess is this is made to be sold to civilians. I don't feel like I got ripped off or anything. It was only $10, and I really don't need that much food. This should be plenty for lunch today, which is when I'm eating this meal. So I just figured I'd explain that part. And then about the future, um, so I don't know if there will be one, to be honest. I'll have to see how this does. And if I do another video, which I plan on doing at least one, I will hopefully have a lot better of a camera setup, and I will have that GoPro SD card issue fixed. But we'll see about that. But so as I explained, this one isn't very international or anything like that, and I think that's pretty much done cooling, so I'll be eating that soon. But for the next video, if you're interested in that, I have a Slovenian 24-hour ration in the mail. So that will be coming probably within the next week or two. I'm not exactly sure when. It is actually coming from Slovenia, and I'm in the US, so it'll take a while to get here. But I do plan to do a video on that at least, and if these perform not terribly, then I'll think about doing some in the future. But I really don't have any sort of video schedule planned or anything like that. Foreign rations, especially 24-hour ones, which is what I want to do most, they're pretty expensive. I mean, they're nothing crazy, but it's not something that I would be doing a video probably like every week or anything. Maybe a couple times, you know, few times, like 6, or maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, something like that. I really don't know. It might be a lot less frequent than that, and it might be a little more frequent. So like I said, plans are super up in the air. It's not like I'm planning on doing this as a career or anything. I just thought it would be something fun to do, but I'm not sure how often I'll do it, and maybe I'll look at this in a week and I will be just so embarrassed that I ever did this, I'll just delete it and forget about it. Um, but I do plan on at least doing that Slovenian ration, that 24-hour ration, because that sounds like a lot of fun, and I already bought it, so no reason not to. Hopefully it'll get well received. Hopefully you'll have some tips and tricks in the comments. Any sort of advice, negative or positive feedback, anything constructive is very welcome. So I just want to talk a little bit about this right before I open up this ration and get this on a plate. So I do think this ration heater is done cooking. So I'll hold it up to my camera's microphone. Can't hear it, and there's usually kind of like a sizzling sound I notice when it is cooking. So I think it's done. So I'll be carrying this out, taking this out. Excuse the camera and excuse how awkward this is going to be, because I only have one hand if I'm going to be using my camera. So, alright, here it is, and I will be taking this out real quick. Alright, sorry for that break in film. I just didn't want to lose any or too much video if this somehow got corrupted, which I don't anticipate, but I didn't anticipate my GoPro getting corrupted either, so it's definitely a better safe than sorry situation if you ask me. So this feels pretty warm. The bottom I don't think quite got on the ration heater, because to be honest it feels a little cool. But places that actually, yeah, you can see there at the back that that bottom did not actually make any contact with the ration heater. So hopefully I'll be able to mix this up and get it kind of warm. But let me try to get this out of the pouch real quick. I might have to set the phone down actually, because this is proving difficult with one hand. So I'll get this out and I will meet you then. Alright, and here we are. It's super easy to do when you have two hands. This is the ration. Everything up here at the top, nice and toasty, nice and warm. Everything at the bottom is not that warm, but honestly that's my own fault. I can't blame the ration heater because it didn't make contact with it. So I'll open this up and get this out onto a plate, and once again I will have to actually set my phone down, so sorry about that, but the next scene you should be is this on my little plate here, and hopefully I won't be able or have to set the phone down for a while after that. Alright, so here we are. This is how it looks in the pouch. It doesn't look particularly appetizing, it's kind of clumped up and everything, but it's kind of what you would expect since it's been in that pouch for a while. I have no idea how old this is actually, but I'm sure it's been in there for a good little while. So we'll just shake this out and mix it all up and get it looking a little better, hopefully. Alright, that looks like it's about everything. There's just maybe a little sauce left in there, but nothing really important. So I'll set this aside and get the spoon I was mixing my drink with and wipe it off a little. And alright, so here we are. The main course is certainly nothing massive. And again, I really wish, let me get the camera right, really wish that I had gotten the flameless ration heater in full contact with the whole thing, because some of this sauce is kind of unmelted. So I'll be stirring this up a little bit and hopefully getting the heat all mixed up properly. But we'll see here. And that's funny, just now I hear the sizzling. So maybe it got into contact with some water. What I'll actually do there, excuse me, is just put this dish on top, because if there is just a little bit of heat, then it'll heat this up a little bit. But without further ado, I'm going to say a little prayer silently, and then I will be seeing if this is any good. Alright? So I'll be trying this, and I'll let you know how it is. And that's actually pretty good. I think it would be a lot better if I had it heated properly, but at this point it's a bit late to be thinking about heating it, because it's already heated. But in the future, I'll probably have to be a little more careful about that. But it's not Michelin star grade or anything. But especially the more heated parts, they're pretty good. I'd be happy to get this just at a restaurant, and I certainly wouldn't be lodging a complaint or anything. It's not anything I would expect at 5-star dining, like I said, but it really isn't bad at all. I honestly quite like it. And I do like pasta, and I do like tortellini. I do think it would be a lot better if they mixed some beef chunks in there or something. But like I said, I think this is a vegetarian menu, so that would kind of ruin that. But yeah, it's definitely good, and I'm not sorry I'm having this for my lunch. I will be finishing this up on camera, then we can get into the dessert. Alright, so I went ahead and finished that up, and as you can tell, it really wasn't bad at all. The portion size wasn't too bad. You know, if you were going to a restaurant, you'd probably expect something a little bit bigger. But with that being said, you never get sides at you almost never get sides at a restaurant with pasta. Pasta is a bit of a standalone dish, and like I said, in the full ration, you're going to get a lot of sides with this. Stuff like a first strike ration bar and some trail mix and whatnot, and all of those ingredients will probably be listed on the screen or in the description. Like I said, this is a bit of a lighter version, but I think it'll fill me up quite nicely, and I'll be ready for supper. I won't be starving by supper, I don't think, and I also won't be stuffed, so I think it's about perfect. And right now I can get into this chocolate chip cookie, and I will be opening this with 2 hands, so I'll set the camera down and get into that. Alright, so here we are. I apologize for the upside down labeling. If you wanted to read that, I'll just give you a nice shot real quick here. Sorry about the shaking, filming on my camera again. I really hope this setup will be better in the next video, but nothing I can do about it right now, really, because I've got everything all set up out here. But this is what the cookie looks like. It looks like a pretty regular cookie. Pretty dry. It's not a soft cookie. It's a crumbly cookie. And I'll be trying this real quick. So it definitely tastes like one of those cookies you get in a package. instead of, say, a cookie that you've just cooked from one of those refrigerated doughs. It's one of those very dry and crumbly, snappy cookies that you would drink milk with. I don't have any milk, and obviously no milk came with the ration, so I won't be eating milk with this, because I'm only eating what came with the ration. Overall, it's not a bad cookie. If you have had one of those store-bought pre-made cookies, I can't think of the name right now, but you probably know what I'm talking about. Just those crisp cookies that snap when you bend them or anything like that. They just kind of crumble apart. They are not pull apart soft cookies, which I prefer personally. Um, they're not bad. You know, they taste store-bought. You probably know what I'm talking about. If you've ate one of those, you've had one of these, really. So that is the extent of this ration. We had the pasta, the cookie, and the drink. No sides or anything because, like I'm mentioning for the millionth time, this is a reduced ration. It's nothing huge. If I had to rate it, I'd probably say about a 7 out of 10 because it was just average, you know. Everything in it was average. The drink was average. The pasta was average. It really wasn't bad for a pasta. Um, I'll have to pause this video real quick to make sure I don't lose any progress here. So, all right, guys, sorry about that break, but I had to make sure there was plenty of space in my phone to keep recording. Like I was saying, I would rate this entire meal about a 7 out of 10 for the meal as a whole. Um, the pasta, I would rate about a 7.5 out of 10, as I would with the cookie. You can't mess up with a cookie, so it was nothing special, but it was a cookie, and that's always a good thing, really. So it wasn't stale or anything, and it wasn't disgusting at all. It was a good cookie, and I will be finishing it. So I would rate this a 7.5 out of 10. And the same with the pasta. You can mess up a pasta pretty bad, and it wasn't burned. It was cooked fine. Um, when I was reheating it, I accidentally left a little bit of it cool on the cooler side, but that was a problem for me. And I think if it was heated perfectly, it would easily earn a 7.5 rating. Um, I would say sausage was missing, but I can't really knock them for that because it is a vegetarian menu, so they couldn't really put sausage in it. And if you are going to have something that's a vegetarian menu, this is a lot better. I think it's better to have a menu with no meat at all than if you were to try to make a veggie burger or something like that. I think that would be a lot worse. So, making a menu that won't miss the meat too much is a lot better, in my opinion. And while I would say this would be pretty easily bumped up to an 8 with sausage, it wasn't bad without it. And for the drink, it was intensely average. It was just a drink, you know. I didn't really love it. It wasn't quite my cup of tea, but I will be drinking this as well. It's a nice cold drink. It's orange, and I don't mind orange flavor. I like orange juice. I don't really love Gatorade, which is probably why I don't love this. But I don't hate it, so I would say it's about a 5 or 6 out of 10. But if you have ever had this menu before, cheese tortellini and tomato sauce, maybe you'd want to comment down in the comment section and say, hey, this meal was a 10 out of 10 for me. I can't get enough of it. Or maybe it's a 1 out of 10 for you and you just could not stomach it. But I'd love to see those comments down below, letting me know how you felt about this meal if you've ever had it. And speaking of comments, if you'd want to comment down any sort of advice or constructive criticism, that would be a huge help as well. Um, Maybe if you've had any ideas for beyond the Slovenian 24-hour ration, which I plan on doing. After that, maybe you have a ration in mind that you think it would just be awesome if you've seen, if you could see a review of it. Maybe you haven't ever seen a review of it online. Maybe it's an obscure country or something. And if I can source it for a reasonable price, I'll probably try to do it. Um, and if it's a common, maybe you have a menu that you just really love for US MREs. And if you do, those are usually pretty easy to source. You can even get them on Amazon or whatnot usually. So if you do have a particular menu that you really love, or maybe even one that you just really hate and you want to see someone try it, then comment down below, let me know what you think. Any ideas, any criticism, anything like that would be a huge help. Um, and let me know if you actually want to see more of these. Maybe I'm a really boring person. And the camera work definitely wasn't very good. Um, in the future, I think it'll be a lot better when I can get my GoPro working with a stable tripod and everything. Um, but that's all for now. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed the video.